This is my crash damaged Porsche Cayman S that I've been slowly trying to fix and get back on the road. And since buying the Porsche Cayman from Copart, I put it on a new subframe and got it rolling again. I've changed the front wing to one that's a little bit less destroyed, stripped out the interior to get the seat belts out so I can send them off to be rebuilt. And in the last video on the Porsche Cayman, I managed to turn this passenger light from that into that, and in doing so I've also made two what look brand new headlights. And if you watch that video, you'll know that there's a lot more to a headlight than meets the eye. But even though these headlights are 20 years old, they're quite electronically advanced. And seeing as we're on the topic of electrics, it's now time to tackle what's left of the wire loom for the front bumper. And that's because the loom that's in the bumper, half of it was damaged in the accident, but the other half is actually okay and seems to be in working order, but I'll soon find out. And this little bit of cable here with a few plugs on it, second hand, was £120, and that was the only one I could find, so I thought, let's save more money and actually repair the loom, because it's actually not that difficult of a job. And to repair the loom, I'm gonna need a few things. A fog light connector, a side light connector, an indicator connector, some automotive wire, automotive wire and loom tape, and what's left of the old wire and loom. Also, something's just turned up in the post, and that is this, and this is a new fitting that goes on top of the expansion pipe of the radiator. So as you can see, this one has snapped, and I ordered this a few weeks ago, but this is what I've been waiting on to actually run the car up to temp. But if you want to see me run the car up to temp and see if it actually holds temp, you're going to have to hit the subscribe button down below, because that's going to have to be in the next episode, because I've got a fair bit of work to do on this front bumper first. So now I'm going to clean off the 20 years of dirt and grime so the loom is nicer to work with, and then I can get to stripping off the original loom tape that was on it. Because the tape's very brittle and it's been on there a while, the glue is dead tacky on the back, so this took ages. But now it's off, I can get rid of the mess off my table and get to measuring the thickness of the wire that I need to replace. So after measuring the cable, I now know I need a 1.25mm cable to replace this blue one, and it'll be the same for the ground cable because I've had a look on the loom. Some people may not think it, but getting the thickness of this wire right is actually quite important, because the way these circuits are designed are based on resistance. If I put too big a cable in, it'll have too little resistance, and if I put too small a cable in, it could have too much resistance to the point of where it gets hot, and that is when you start causing fires, and I really don't want to cause a fire. So now I can go through this second-hand Range Rover Sport loom that I got off a mate who was scrapping it, and try and find what cables fit and make sure that the run is long enough to create the flying lead for the indicators. So now that I've got my replacement cables measured and identified, it's time to stick them to the loom that I've already got from the Porsche. And to do this, I'm going to try and do a proper job of it using flux, solder and heat shrink. What I'm going to do is twist the cables up, put a bit of flux on, because the flux allows the heat off the soldering iron to evenly disperse across the cables. Get some solder on it so the solder binds the two cables together with a good mechanical joint. And then stick the heat shrink over the top and heat shrink it. This then insulates the cable so the cable can't short out or touch any of the cables within that circuit and potentially cause an issue. Now that I've done that, I'm going to do it on the other ground cable, and I think after that we're good to get the taping. So before I stick the loom tape on as a final close up, I'm going to go down the loom with some insulation tape and tape up in little sections just to keep all the cables together and to keep it nice and neat. This is more a visual thing than it is anything else, but I like to try and do it properly. Now that I've got everything taped up, I kind of need to put tension on the cables to get the tape on it nice and tight. I can't really do that on my own, so I've come up with a clever little idea of tying a little loop on one end of the cable, putting it over my door handle and pulling it whilst I'm taping it up. This may sound like it's a bit easy, but this is actually quite a difficult task to do on your own. But now I've taped the whole loom up entirely, you can see the flying leads are all put on. The only thing I need to do now is get the connectors on. So now all the cables have been repaired and the loom is looking more like an OEM loom. I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. You can see there's 3 flying leads that I've put on this, and then there's 3 connectors that are on this. So these leads need connectors, which are these. So that is for the side light, that one is for the indicator, and there's something interesting about that which I'll touch on before I put it on, and that is for the fog light. So looking at these cables here, the thicker one, or the thicker cable should I say, them. So basically looking at this side of the loom, the short tail there is the daytime running light or the side light, which is this plug, so that goes on there. These tails here are the fog lights, so that's that plug. And these tails here are the brand new ones that I've made up. And they're for the indicator, and that is for that plug. But like I said, that indicator plug, I said there was something interesting about it, and it is because most vehicle manufacturers tend to use other vehicle manufacturers' parts, and that indicator plug is made by another German auto manufacturer. And like I just said, Porsche are part of VAG, which is Volkswagen Audi Group, meaning it's Volkswagen, Audi, and they also own the likes of Porsche. They used to own Bugatti. I don't think they do anymore because I think Porsche just sold their shares. But long story short, this plug is made by BMW. And when I searched the part number to find that plug to replace it, it was a BMW indicator plug. But anyway, that's the fun fact for today. So I'm going to get these plugs on where these go, just on this side, and then we can get the loom plugged in and hopefully it works. So my plan here is to start with the side light plug first, and these go together in a few stages. And this is the plug. To assemble this, what I'm going to have to do is strip the cables back, use a set of crimps to crimp the ends of these tails. As you can see, they're sticking up now, but they'll be folded after the fact. So fitting the new connectors on the loom, like I've just said, is a very simple process. You just strip the cable back, get the waterproof plugs on the back, crimp it, push in the connector, and that's basically it. So I'm going to do the same on the other two plugs, and then that's the wiring loom fully repaired. So that is the front bumper wiring loom for the Porsche Cayman, fully built up. It looks the part. Let's just hope it works and actually does what it's supposed to do. So I'll explain to you how much it costs to actually rebuild this loom with the cost board later on, but for now, I can guarantee that it was a lot less than 120 quid, and I think it looks just as good. And the fact that I could get those connectors perfect based on the part numbers on those three definitely helped. So let's go lift the bumper off the Cayman, get this plugged in, turn the car on, test it and see if it works. So my wiring loom for the front bumper is all in. I don't know if that's how it routes, I need to figure that out, but that's just how I'm going to put it for now. So the next thing is to get the bumper on, plug it in and test it. But before I do that, I've got another thing I want to show you and I want to get on the car. And this is the plastic block I was missing for the passenger side. That goes under there, so I'll get that bolted up and then it should hold the bumper on quite nicely whilst we do the test. So now it's time to see if the loom I've built up actually works. So that's the ignition on. Headlights. Fog lights. And hazards to test the indicators. It's all flashing on the dash. That indicator's on. That indicator's on. That side light's on, but the fog light isn't. Again, that side light is on, but the fog light isn't. That indicator's on, which is good because that means that them cables that I've repaired in the middle that are ripped out for this indicator, I've soldered them properly, they plugged in properly, and it's all good. But them fog lights could be an issue. So I made up that the indicators are working and the side lights are working, so that means I've built the loom up properly, but both of the fog lights aren't working and that's quite concerning. I know it's not the bulbs because I checked the bulbs before I put them in and the filament's right. Along with the continuity from the connectors to the big connector at the end, everything's continuous, which is good. So the only thing I can think of testing next to see if the fog light circuit itself is at fault is something called a actuator test. So on my OBD reader, when you plug it in, you can go to special functions. When you click on that, you can go to actuation tests. So I can turn those lights on individually to see if they actually come on. So I think that's gonna have to be the next port of call and then we'll go from there. Right, so I'm gonna plug me little OBD reader in, turn the ignition on so it'll actually connect. and I'm going to actuate the special functions. And if you want to see what reader I'm using, hit that subscribe button down below, because in the next video I'll show you all about it and I'll show you how it works and the things it can do, because it is quite good. Right, so off to the special functions we go. Loading data, please wait. Right, so I'm on the actuation test now. When I turn this on, it should activate the left hand fog light and daytime running light. And if they both come on, I know the bulb and the light system, the light itself is okay. Start. So that's saying function running now, so that should be on if the bulb's okay and if the light works. Both the fog light and the daytime running light on the left hand side are on, so we know that works. Now, time to do it to the right. And that's now the right hand side, that should be on. If it is, then the bulb and the light itself are okay. If it's not, I've got bigger problems. And again, that's the right hand fog light and daytime running light on. So that tells me the loom that I've built correctly, it works as it should. But that also means there's another underlying issue as to why those fog lights aren't coming on. So I'll have to jump on the internet and see what I can find. So I've done a bit of Googling and I found on a Planet 9 forum, which is all Porsche stuff, something that's quite interesting. And what I found was this. And what it's basically saying is, if your fog lights don't work, but they do work, like I've just done with the actuation tests, if your fog lights don't come on when you turn the fogs on, another thing you should check is the front frunk light. Mine doesn't come on either. And if you go to your headlight switch, you can see there's that there which says home. And what that does is when you get out the car and you lock the car, if you've got your lights set to home, the fog lights stay on to guide you home, and they think they stay on for 30 seconds and then they turn off automatically. If they don't work either, then the issue isn't necessarily the lights, but the module that controls the lights. And within doing my research, that module is called the front end control module, FECM, and that goes from there through the headlights. It tests the headlights to make sure everything is right, and then from there it does the fog lights, the front lights, the home lights. I need to add that on. My left hand, I'm not left-handed, so excuse the poor writing, but you get the point. And basically, if that F front end control module detects a fault with the headlights, it turns off all the other unnecessary lights on the front end, and I have no clue why. And from what I read, neither does anyone else, but that front end control module, once it detects a fault with the headlights, it'll turn that off. And if you've been watching and following along, you'll know that in the accident, my front passenger side headlight blew up. So if there's gonna be a fault, chances are it'll be because of that. And I've just built that headlight up from a halogen to a xenon, and in the xenons they have leveling motors in both, and what that does obviously is level the headlights. And anything like that that has a motor that levels something off will have a calibration value. And because I've rebuilt those, I think those headlights have gone out of calibration, and that's one of the faults that the front end control module will turn the fog lights off for. If the headlights need recalibrating, it won't turn anything else on. And I can say with almost utmost certainty that those headlights will need calibrating. And unfortunately for me, although my scan tool has dealership level diagnostics, it doesn't have dealership level special functions like the calibration tool. Which means I'm now going to have to take to the internet and try and find something with that PIWIS diagnostic software on it, the Porsche specific stuff. And if I can get hold of that, I can use that to calibrate the headlights. If not, I'll have to see if I can find something else that will still do it to the same degree. The only other thing I know of based on the Planet 9 forum is apparently there's a software or a diagnostic tool, called iCarSoft, and that supposedly will do it as well, but I'll have to see how much that is and whether it's worth buying. Because if I can't find something, the only other option is to take that to a dealership, and I don't think it's going to a dealership anytime soon. And before I forget, I think it's time I updated the cost board. So let's get rid of this. So, indicator, or blinker if you're American, that was £25. I'll call this bumper misc. So bumper misc was the 3 connectors I had to buy, the loom tape, I think that was it, and that was £40 in total, which means if I'd have bought the other loom, which was 120, I'd have paid an extra 80 quid. But because that only cost me 40 quid and a few hours of my time, I've managed to save £80, which I think is a good saving. And last but not least, the bumper bracket, the one I was missing off the passenger side, that cost me an even £20, which again, and for a bit of plastic, it does seem like a bit much, but I needed it, so I didn't really have a choice. So that's what this has cost me. But even though I couldn't get the fog lights to work, I'm still made up with the progress on the Porsche Cayman today. And on that note, I'm going to leave it there. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I need to go do some research to figure out why those fog lights aren't coming on. I think it is the module, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So I'll come back to you when I find out in the next video. And if you want to see that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get an update every time I post a video. And I'll see you in the next one.
Afraid to turn out the lights? Is